It all started with a folding table, a handful of handmade products, and a dream no one took seriously. Every weekend, Maya would haul her little setup to the corner of the local farmer's market, proudly displaying her side hustle, natural skincare she crafted in her tiny apartment kitchen. She wasn't flashy, no big budget, no fancy branding, just heart, hustle, and late nights filled with trial and error. While others scrolled through job boards or waited for promotions, Maya was building something she believed in. But instead of encouragement, all she got were smirks, whispers, and the occasional sarcastic, "How's business going?" Some of her friends started avoiding the topic altogether. A few even joked that she was just playing entrepreneur. It stung, deeply. But Maya didn't argue. She just kept showing up, week after week, rain or shine. She handed out samples, listened to feedback, improved her formulas, and quietly built a small community of loyal customers. Still, to most people, it was just a cute little side project, something she'd eventually outgrow when she got a real job. Then, one afternoon, everything changed. It was a slow Sunday. The usual crowd had already passed through, and Maya was packing up early, questioning for the 100th time if all this effort was even worth it. That's when a man in a crisp blue suit stopped by her table. He didn't look like someone who belonged at a farmer's market. He didn't even glance at the other stalls. But he picked up one of Maya's jars, opened it, and smiled. What he said next made her heart stop, because this wasn't just any customer. This was a Fortune 500 CEO, and he wasn't there by accident. In a matter of minutes, it belonged to the CEO of one of the largest beauty and wellness corporations in the country. Maya didn't sleep that night. She stayed up Googling his name, double-checking the logo on the card, replaying their brief conversation over and over again. Why her? Why now? Was this some kind of joke? Part of her was excited, but another part was scared. Because for the first time, her little side hustle wasn't so little anymore, and the spotlight was starting to feel real. The next morning, her inbox had a message waiting. It was from his assistant. A private meeting was being scheduled. No details, no promises. Just a time and a location, a high-rise downtown, far from the farmer's market she'd grown used to. She didn't tell anyone, not even her closest friends. Maybe it was fear of jinxing it. Or maybe she just wasn't ready to hear more laughter if it all went nowhere. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, Maya's struggles were far from over. She was still working a part-time job to pay rent, juggling late nights of product testing, order, packing, and handling everything from marketing to customer support on her own. Supplies were running low, and her savings were nearly gone. Every dollar counted. She had no team, no warehouse, no big plan, just a dream that had quietly grown bigger than she'd expected. And now someone powerful was watching. But what? Did he really want? Was it her product? Her story? Or something else entirely? What Maya didn't know was that this one meeting had the potential to pull her out of obscurity, or drag her into a world she wasn't prepared for. Because success, when it finally knocks, doesn't always come with clear instructions. Maya stood outside the glass tower, gripping her small product bag like a shield. The city noise faded behind the pounding in her chest. As the elevator climbed, she couldn't help but replay every doubt she'd ever had. Every person who said it wouldn't work. Every late night when quitting seemed easier. But this wasn't just about proving them wrong anymore. This meeting could change everything, or expose everything she still didn't know. Inside the office, the mood was calm but sharp. The CEO greeted her with a firm handshake, then nodded toward the conference table where two other people sat. A woman with a laptop already typing notes, and a man in a tailored suit who introduced himself as the head of product development. They weren't here for small talk. "Tell us how you make your product," the CEO said directly. Maya's mind raced. She wasn't sure how much to share. This wasn't a school project. This was business. Serious business. As she talked about her ingredients, the inspiration behind the formulas, and her process of trial and error, she noticed them exchanging subtle looks. Not unkind, but calculating. They asked questions about her sourcing, her packaging, her plans for scaling. But Maya didn't have fancy answers. She had jars she filled by hand, labels she glued in her kitchen, and customers who trusted her. That was it. Back at home, things were starting to shift. Her online shop saw a strange uptick in visits. A few influencers she'd never contacted started tagging her in posts. Someone had definitely said something, but who and why now? One of her longtime customers sent a DM. "Just saw a story about your brand on a business podcast. Are you about to blow up?" But not everyone was cheering. Maya's old coworker, who once teased her for leaving a stable job for this hobby, suddenly resurfaced with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. "So what's the big deal? You're selling lotion, right?" Even her landlord, after seeing a package delivery stack outside her door, joked, "You opening a factory in there?" Meanwhile, Maya couldn't shake a feeling, like there was more to that meeting than they'd let on. Why would a Fortune 500 company be interested in a small handmade skincare line? What did they see that even she didn't? Because sometimes, attention doesn't come just for your success. Sometimes it comes for what others can take. Maya couldn't sleep for days after the meeting. The excitement had faded into something heavier, uncertainty. She'd expected either a clear yes or a polite no, but what she got was silence. No follow-up email, no call, just echoes of questions they asked, and her own answers replaying in her head, wondering if she said too much or not enough. Then, something strange happened. A new skincare brand was suddenly trending online. Sleek packaging, natural ingredients, and a backstory that felt oddly familiar. Too familiar. Maya stared at the promotional post, her jaw tightening. One of the key ingredients she'd talked about, one she thought was her unique twist, was now being marketed as the hero formula of this new line. The branding was different, yes, but the vibe? The message? It felt like someone had taken her blueprint and dressed it up for the big stage. She tried to stay calm. Maybe it was a coincidence. Maybe she was being paranoid, but deep down, something didn't feel right. She searched for a connection and found it. The new brand was a passion project under the same Fortune 500 company she'd met with. Her heart dropped. They hadn't ghosted her. They'd moved, just without her. Maya sat in her apartment surrounded by her unsold jars, feeling a mix of rage and helplessness. Her inbox was full of small orders and customer questions, but her mind was somewhere else. She didn't have a legal team. She didn't even have a trademark. All she had was a gut feeling that her story, her work, had been used without her. The pressure was building. Friends started messaging her about the new brand. Some even asked if it was hers. Maya didn't know what to say. Was speaking. Out a risk? What if she burned every bridge before she even crossed one? But staying silent felt worse. Her side hustle had been mocked, doubted, and now, maybe stolen. She reached out to the CEO's office. No response. She drafted a public post 3 times, then deleted it. And then came a message she didn't expect, from a former employee at the company. No name, no small talk. Just a single line. "You're not crazy." They took it. Everything changed in that moment. And now, Maya had a choice to make. One that would test not just her business, but everything she believed about fighting back. Maya stared at the anonymous message for minutes, her thumb hovering over the screen. "You're not crazy. They took it." Her mind raced. It confirmed what she feared, but it also opened a door she wasn't sure she was ready to walk through. She replied with a cautious, "Can you tell me more?" But no response came. The message just sat there, like a warning, or a clue. She tried to move on with her small business, processing orders, responding to customer emails, uploading content to her skincare Instagram. But everything felt different now. Every success tasted bitter. Every routine step felt like it was being watched. The trust that had kept her grounded was shaken. She kept checking her inbox, hoping for more answers, anything that could point her toward the truth. And then, another twist. Her payment processor flagged a suspicious legal request on her account. Someone had reported one of her product names for brand infringement. But it wasn't a big company. It was a newly formed LLC that just so happened to share the same address as the Fortune 500 brand's marketing division. Maya's heart sank. Not only had they moved forward without her, now they were coming back to erase what little she had left. She reached out to a small business attorney, someone recommended in a local Facebook group. After reviewing the documents, he sat back in his chair and said quietly, "This might be bigger than you think." That same week, something unexpected happened. A major business blog published a glowing feature about the new skincare brand, the one with the sleek packaging and innovative natural formula. But the twist? The article mentioned inspiration from indie creators and linked to a now-deleted photo Maya had posted months ago. Her photo, her caption, her tone. It was almost like someone had studied her every move and used it as a launch strategy. The timing was too perfect to ignore, and just when she thought it couldn't get worse, a package arrived at her door. No sender, no note. Inside was one of the new brand's products, sealed, professionally packed, and nearly identical to her original jar. But there was one difference, a QR code on the lid. She scanned it, unsure of what to expect. What loaded next made her stomach turn. It was a pitch deck, her pitch deck, the one she never shared publicly. And now Maya knew. Someone on the inside didn't just take her idea. They'd taken everything. Maya felt the blood drain from her face as she stared at the screen. Slide after slide, every word, every design element, everything in that deck was hers. The ingredient list, the customer personas, even the tagline she scribbled on a napkin one night after a long shift. The only thing missing was her name. Whoever had this file had taken it straight from her cloud. Her pitch deck had never been shared, except once, during a private call she had recorded, but never posted. That's when it clicked. Someone had accessed her files without her knowing. Not just copied her vision, they had stolen it from the inside. Fueled by shock and rage, Maya did what she'd been afraid to do for weeks. She spoke up. She shared her story online, not with accusations, but with facts, dates, screenshots, her journey, her brand. She showed her original jar next to the new corporate version. She told her followers what happened and left the rest to them. She didn't ask for pity. She just wanted the truth out there. Within hours, the post went viral. Skincare influencers reposted it, Other small business owners chimed in with similar stories. Maya's tiny following exploded overnight. Major media outlets reached out for interviews, and suddenly, the Fortune 500 company found itself in a PR nightmare. Their shiny new brand, once praised for supporting small creators, was now under fire for exploiting them. But just as Maya started to feel a small sense of justice, the twist hit. An internal whistleblower, likely the same anonymous source, leaked. One final piece of evidence, an internal memo from months ago, dated just 2 days after Maya's meeting with the CEO. The subject line was blunt: replicate concept, fast-track launch. The memo not only confirmed the theft, it revealed a deliberate strategy to scout rising indie brands, mirror their aesthetics, and push them out before they could scale. Maya hadn't been unlucky. She'd been targeted. Public backlash was swift. Legal action followed. Maya's story was everywhere, from entrepreneur podcasts to late-night news segments. Her sales exploded, investors reached out, and suddenly she had the kind of attention people dream of. But she didn't sell out. Instead, Maya partnered with a legal fund to protect other small creators like her. She rebuilt her brand on her own terms, with trust, transparency, and a story no one could steal. Because in the end, they didn't just try to take her business, they gave her a bigger voice. Months passed, and Maya's life looked completely different. Her once small side hustle had grown into a recognized skincare brand with real demand, loyal customers, and more importantly, respect. But it didn't happen because someone handed her a deal or gave her a shortcut. It happened because she stood her ground when it mattered most. She stayed true to her mission, even when others tried to twist it into something unrecognizable. The story that once started with a folding table and a few homemade jars had now become a symbol of resilience for other small business owners. Maya received messages from across the world, people who had doubted themselves, creators who were afraid to start, and others who had been taken advantage of but never had the chance to speak up. Her story gave them something to hold on to. She kept her brand clean and authentic, focused on natural skincare, ethical ingredients, and community support. She also launched a new series on her website, highlighting indie brands and creators who deserved the spotlight. Every month, she featured a new small business, sharing their story, products, and journey. It wasn't just about skincare anymore. It was about building something bigger than profit, something rooted in purpose. The Fortune 500 company never officially admitted wrongdoing, but the damage was done. They lost credibility in the clean beauty space, and their copied product line quietly disappeared from shelves after the backlash. No apology came, but Maya didn't need one. Her win wasn't about revenge. It was about reclaiming what was hers and turning pain into purpose. Looking back, she often thought about those early market days. The stares, the doubts, the laughs. They still echoed sometimes, but they didn't sting anymore. Because what people once mocked was now her power. What they called just a hobby had become her voice, her livelihood, and her proof that success doesn't have to come from a boardroom. Sometimes it comes from believing in something before anyone else does. So if you're sitting on an idea, a dream, or a brand that no one understands yet, don't wait for permission. Don't wait for validation. Just start. Because the world may not notice right away, but when it finally does, your story might be the one that inspires the next Maya.